Hello, welcome to another edition of Currently in Quincy. I'm Joe Catalano. On today's program, we'll be chatting with Irene Lutz and Joe Hearn from Quinn Cycles. Learn about some upcoming events and more about the organization, how you might be able to get involved too. First, though, we check out the weather and the news for you this morning. Currently in Quincy, it's beautiful out there. Brilliant sunshine, just a few patchy clouds, 67 degrees right now. It'll top off up around 70 this afternoon with a mix of sun and clouds. Another comfortable night coming up tonight. Temperatures will dip into the mid-50s. Kind of a repeat tomorrow, just a tad warmer with highs tomorrow into the low 70s with sun and clouds. Summer makes a comeback here on Wednesday. It'll be rather muggy. Could be an afternoon shower with highs, look at that, Wednesday in the mid, maybe even upper 80s. Still kind of warm here on Thursday with sun and clouds, high around 80 degrees. But again, right now, partly sunny, 67 in Quincy. In the news today, the Quincy City Council is now reviewing a proposal to impose some new regulations on sober homes here in the city. Ward 4 Councilor Brian Palmucci introduced that measure recently that he says will protect both sober home clients and the city.
The intent of this regulation is to not regulate where sober houses go, but regulate how sober houses are run. And in doing so, it seeks to ensure that sober homes are safe places for people to live in, that there isn't drug abuse occurring in the sober home, and that folks are treated with respect, with courtesy, and their medical needs are taken care of.
Palmucci says there are currently no regulations covering sober homes because substance use disorder is recognized as a disability under federal law, preventing local communities from instituting any mandates. Quincy City Council recently approving spending another $200,000 to continue the legal fights against a proposal for a new Long Island bridge and a proposal for a natural gas compressor station in North Weymouth. Ward 6 Councilor Bill Harris said both issues impact the entire city.
But this is really a city of Quincy issue. People don't realize that that intersection of Quincy Shore Drive and East Squantum Street, I'm going to tell you, folks will divert from when that gets congested. What'll happen is people do what they've done all the time, especially commuters from the South Shore. They're going to move. But I don't think that's going to happen in my lifetime, to be honest with you. And I hope I don't ever see it because I'll be rolling in my grave, believe me, if what I believe is going to take place out on Long Island takes place. And
Boston wants to build a new Long Island bridge to replace the one that was torn down 4 years ago and open up a substance abuse treatment center on Long Island. And the Algonquin Gas Company wants to build a natural gas compressor station on the banks of the Fore River in North Weymouth. Opponents argue that will make the poor air quality in that area worse. An estimated 12% of Quincy's voters expected to cast ballots in tomorrow's preliminary election. City Clerk Nicole Crispo says about 6,300 voters will likely go to the polls to narrow the field of candidates for mayor and Ward 1 city councilor. Mayor Thomas Koch is seeking his second four-year term, but he was first elected to office back in 2007. A win this year would make him the longest-serving mayor in Quincy history. Brenda Ryan and Tracy Dorgan are challenging Koch. Ward 1 Councilor Dave McCarthy is seeking his second two-year term. He's being challenged by Joseph Murphy and Danielle Kemp. The top two vote-getters in tomorrow's races will face each other in the November 5th general election. QATV, by the way, providing live coverage of tomorrow's election beginning at 8 p.m. Quincy police asking for the public's help in locating a missing teenager. 16-year-old Myra Texera was last seen on September 1st. She is described as a black female, about 5'3", 100 pounds, and last seen wearing gray leggings with a white crop top. Anybody with information about her is asked to contact Quincy Police at 617-479-1212. Well, as Quincy prepares to celebrate its 400th anniversary in the year 2025, officials are putting together a series of committees to determine how to mark that historic occasion. During a recent presentation at City Hall, historian Bob Damon said that Quincy has a lot to be proud of.
And folks here in Quincy have been doing that same kind of work ever since to ensure that their history and their heritage is preserved for the future. My job and my honor to do that job was to look at some of the 18 main historic heritage sites here in the community and to give an initial snapshot of their condition and the larger environment or ecosystem around which they live. And that's what this report is about. And I am looking forward to being able to use this information as well as my own background to help support the important work that's happening here in the 6 pillars of the Quincy 400. And I want to thank the mayor for the opportunity.
Mayor Thomas Koch recently established committees to focus on health and wellness, education, neighborhoods, history, arts and culture, economic growth, and tourism, and capital assets and transportation. Each committee will produce a report for recommendations for their respective concentrations by the end of the year. Well, now that you're up to date with weather and news, let's check out our programming lineup for later on today here on Quincy Access Television. It starts with a replay of this program currently in Quincy at 5 o'clock. 5:30, messages from the candidates in tomorrow's preliminary election. The recent Barry J. Welch Field Dedication Ceremony tonight at 6 on Channel 8. 7 o'clock, the Marymount Association's Ward 1 Councilor Candidates
welcome
Night.
Down to Marymount Beach. Happy to host the Candidates Night again.
High school football is back. Quincy High versus Archbishop Williams from Friday night, tonight at 8.
Coming up to make the reception was Pat Nazzaro.
Then at 11 o'clock, Democracy Now! And at midnight, an at the library concert featuring the Genesis Chamber Singers. Check out Channel 9 every day. You'll learn about Quincy City Departments, different committee activities. All starts at 5:30 with Quincy in Focus. $6 p.m. it's Crime Watch. Quincy Police Lieutenant Dan Minton. Topic is scenarios. FYI from the Quincy Health Department at 6:30 tonight. It's all about bed bugs. Brand new, it's 7 o'clock. Update DPW, all about the fall season. 7:30, and at the library concerts featuring Sparrow Blue. The Barry J. Welch Field Dedication Ceremony at 8 o'clock on Channel 9. 8:45, we get a preview of tomorrow's preliminary election on In the Know. Find out what's happening at your library for the month of September at 9 o'clock.
Welcome to At Your Library.
Get a complete program schedule. Just go to our website. It's qatv.org. And when you get there, click on Program Schedule. Don't forget, too, you can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and check out our weekly ad in the Quincy Sun. Coming up, we take a look at a few of the current events and activities that are featured right now on our electronic bulletin board on Channel 8 for your information. So please stay tuned. We're back with you in just 1 minute. Welcome back. Here is a check of some of the current events and activities that we're featuring right now on our electronic bulletin board on Channel 8 for your information. Like the Fort River residents against the compressor station meeting tomorrow at 7 o'clock at the Fort River Clubhouse on Nevada Road in Quincy Point. You're invited to come by at 6:30 if you need an update on the fight against a proposed natural gas compressor station in North Weymouth. The website to learn more about it, nocompressor.com. Quincy will be the first U.S. city to host Fair Saturday. This will be on November 30th. The international recognition of the arts and culture started in Spain in 2014, and it's spreading across the world. Visit fairsaturday.org for more information. United States Postal Service is hiring. You can visit your local post office or go to usps.com/careers for all the details. And the 5th annual 5K to support families with children affected by heart disease will be happening on September 14th up at Pageant Field. This race is held every year in honor of Claire Joni Brennan. And if you have an event or an activity you'd like to promote, visit our website, qatv.org. Just download a bulletin board request form, fill it out, and send it in. We'll get that message up for you on Channel 8, too. Coming up, we learn more about what Quinn Cycles has been up to this year and what's coming up in the fall. That's next. Welcome back. A beautiful day for a bike ride today, actually. It's been a beautiful summer and early fall so far. Folks from Quinn Cycles are out in pretty much all kinds of weather, actually. Irene Lutz and Joe Hearn are here with us on the program this morning. Talk a little bit more about the organization, how you might be able to get involved in some of their upcoming events. So Irene, Joe, welcome. Thanks for coming over.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks for having
Great
us.
to have you both. Appreciate it. Irene, let's start with you if we can.
Sure.
And for folks who don't know, there's new people coming into the city all the time now.
Yeah.
So folks who might not know about Quinn Cycles, who are you? How did you all get started? And how do folks get involved with you?
Well, we started about 5 years ago, Joe?
Longer. I think it was around 2012.
Yeah. And Nathan Pipo, who is pastor at the Lutheran
Good Shepherd
Church.
Lutheran Church.
There
Yes.
we go. Thanks, Joe. He put a call out for people interested in making Quincy better for biking, and a bunch of us met up there, started talking, and from there, Joe incorporated us, and we've come forward. We've done a lot. We have members. Joe and I are both also on the Mayor's Bicycle Commission.
Yes, which
And
didn't exist either at the time.
It did not.
Yeah.
So we've come a long way, and in order to reach us, you can find us on Facebook. We have a website. We have cards all over the city, in City Hall, and all the displays that give you an idea of when our rides are happening. We usually have 2 rides a month.
About how many of you are there now, would you say, Irene, even just roughly?
There's 50 paying members, but membership is not required
Okay.
to join us on rides.
Okay, so basically if you see you out on the street riding around, say, I want to be a member of Quinn Cycles, you can become one.
Yes, you can. Yeah,
Yeah.
we have a link on our website.
Yep.
Takes you right to PayPal. You can start an annual subscription membership.
Okay.
Or if you want to just try it out for 1 year, you can do that as well.
Okay.
$25 a year.
Okay.
Shouldn't break the bank.
Yep, no, it's very reasonable. But at the time, 7 years ago, this was groundbreaking in Quincy. This was not even discussed. There were no bike lanes. There were no Lime bikes or any kind of rental agency. It was not thought of as part of the overall plan. That has changed a lot, right?
It has changed
Yeah.
a lot. We've, I think, by bringing up the conversation more often, we've been able to get money in the city budget
Yep.
for implementing and building our bike network. Around the time we joined, the MAPC had worked with the city to develop a bike network plan, and the city council adopted that for the city. So we have the bones of a plan that
Yeah.
we're working on building out. And then just last year, the city worked to develop what's called a complete streets policy.
Yes.
And this is in order to comply with a state funding program for complete streets. So there was a lot of outreach in the community. We had a wiki map. People could give their input. We prioritized particular areas that were of concern for everybody who uses that roadway. So we want to think about the people who are walking there, and think about the people who are biking and the people who are driving, people using transit. So that's the idea of a complete street, that it functions for everybody who wants to use it in whatever way they are. And most of us are multimodal, right? Sometimes we drive, sometimes we walk. So the city implemented that policy last year and received funding from the state, over $300,000.
That's real money.
That is
That's-
real
yeah,
money.
That's the state saying, we believe in this, we
Yeah.
think there's a future for it, we think you know how to do it properly.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and that money is going toward projects on Quarry Street,
Yep.
from Granite all the way over into the Milton line,
Yep.
and then also here on Coddington Street in the center, extending the bikeway that is part of the Adams Green redo, and taking that out to the Southern Artery C Street and beginning out there. And there are
Right in front of the high school, right? And
exactly,
the YMCA.
yeah, where there's lots of kids who are biking.
Exactly.
The bike parking there is usually pretty
Pretty
substantial.
yeah, absolutely. Do you feel, either one of you actually, that Quinn Cycles, because it exists, has been able to draw more attention to this from the state and the city level?
Well, very definitely.
Yeah.
It's been a slow process.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a signature event in the spring where we call it Riding the Spine. The Spine being Hancock Street from the Neponset Bridge to the center and beyond, and that draws about 60 riders, and we get a police escort. So we have a good rapport with the police department, and we have our logo, our Quinn Cycles, the chain ring with the crank.
Yes.
In our shirts, and you see us in our bright yellow shirts, then
Yes.
that raises the visibility.
Yes.
We're pleased with the support the city's been giving us. It's slow. The mayor has to accommodate everybody.
Sure.
Not everybody understands what we're trying to do. But I do think that if we get more bikes on the street, and I'm not anti-car, it'll be easier for everyone. Picture parking 20 bikes downtown versus parking 20 cars downtown. You mentioned that people are moving to the city that might not know about us.
Yes.
The people who are going to be moving to the city are going to be expecting bike infrastructure. They'll have fewer cars. We got a new member who just moved in, came to our meeting, a young fellow. He's going to help us with some of our Asian outreach because he
Okay.
speaks Mandarin.
Okay.
So the other thing was when we formed Quinn Cycles, Nathan Peepo putting us together, brought together people from all over the city, and we get to know people. I live in Wollaston. Irene does as well. We have members out in Howes Neck. I wouldn't ordinarily be in Howes Neck. We've had rides on Howes Neck. We had rides in Wollaston, rides in the center. So it's bringing people in the city together, bringing us to different parts.
And maybe experiencing other parts of the city they might not.
Absolutely.
frequently
I didn't know that
visit.
there's some places in Howes Neck where you can ride and you think you're on Cape Cod.
Yes,
Yeah.
you must have been out to Nut Island then. It's
Yep.
beautiful out there, yeah. Now, it's interesting you say that new people new people that are coming from Boston, Cambridge, Somerville, to get the
Yeah.
more affordable quote unquote
Yeah.
housing. There's bike infrastructure in those big cities
Very
already.
much so, yeah. So Quincy is different temperamentally than some of those cities, and so we're just trying to slowly, have dialogue with people.
Yeah.
Because but it's a lot similar to that. It's congested, small distances. Those people are expecting it, I think, as they move in.
Sure.
Long-term residents probably aren't expecting it, but as they see it and get used to it, it'll just become part of the backdrop. It'll seem very normal. And I think the traffic will move the same or faster as more people can get around sharing a crowded space.
Yeah, Irene, I wish you could explain a little bit about kind of a new formulation for the way bike lanes are being thought out and constructed now. It's
Yeah.
different from what we normally think of.
Yeah, so out here on Washington Street, this part right by the library, you'll see what's traditionally thought of as a bike lane.
Right.
You have the parked cars next to the curb, and then the bike lane between the parked cars and the moving traffic. We in the cycling community call that a door zone lane, particularly because a driver's side door opening into that space takes up about 3/4 of that bike lane if it's open fully. So it can be hazardous to a cyclist.
If someone's not looking and they just fling their door open and
Yeah.
there's a bicycle there.
There's a great movement lately, I'd love to bring it up. It's called the Dutch Reach, where in the Netherlands and communities where cycling is very prevalent, new drivers are taught to use their inside arm to open their doors so
Yeah.
that their body turns and they look automatically and see
Oh.
whether a pedestrian or a cyclist or even another car is driving up close before they open their door.
Okay,
So-
the Dutch Reach.
the Dutch Reach,
Okay.
yeah, that's a great one. And then what I'm really excited about in one of the projects that the city funding is going for rather than the state funding
Okay.
is expanding that bike lane along Washington Street all the way close to the Southern Artery. And what we've been able to work out with the city is to try a pilot parking protected bike lane. People who drive in Boston and Cambridge will probably have seen these. They were developed in New York City. And what it is, you have the curb, and then you have the bike lane right next to the curb, and then there's a 2-foot buffer, usually with some sort of barrier, a flexi post or something like that, and then the parking, and then the moving vehicles, so that the parked vehicles become an additional buffer. And what that can do is it can take the large number percentage of the population that is interested in biking but looks at at a door zone bike lane and says, no, thank you.
Right.
I don't feel safe there.
Yep.
So by switching the parking and the bike lane, what you do is you create a much safer, more comfortable, lower stress space for someone to try bicycling.
Okay.
And it won't, these are a pilot. It's only going to be in a portion on each side of Washington Street,
Okay.
just to
Try it out.
try it out
basically?
and
Yeah.
see how we feel about it as a city.
Okay, so it's really a protected corridor for them,
Yep.
you know, to travel. Yeah.
Yeah. And as a mom, I would feel much better about my kids out on their bikes in a protected space as
Yeah.
opposed to in a bike lane
Yeah.
in a door zone.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
And is this done? You said in New York City, and
Yeah, it
really?
started. I
Again,
think
there.
that's where they
Yep.
first started. You'll see them a lot there. In Cambridge and Boston as well.
Okay.
The bicycling advocacy movement is definitely trending toward more protected bikeways, which can be complicated for a city who's just exploring and beginning to implement bikeways because it has a different space demand.
Well, it's, the complete streets, as you're mentioning now, that when a street is finally redone, Hancock Street, I'm thinking Quincy, Shore Drive, C Street right now is undergoing a big reconstruction.
Yes,
effort.
that intersection is, there is a mandate with MassDOT that
Right.
all new construction roadways have to have bicycle accommodations. It
Yes.
can vary how the
How they
level
configure
of
it?
of
Okay.
implementation. Yeah.
Does it depend on funding? Is that what it comes down to?
Partly on funding and other things, I'm sure.
Logistics and
Logistics,
aesthetics.
space,
And,
yeah.
Space is the big thing. That portion of Washington Street you mentioned is very wide. It's like a boulevard almost.
It is very
Yeah.
wide. Yeah, cars could. I mean, it's one lane in each direction, but
Right.
the space that those cars have is it's wide enough for this
Yeah.
accommodation. A 5-foot bike lane, a 2-foot buffer, parking, and 2 lanes of traffic.
Yeah.
So everybody can share that much
But
more.
it would never
efficiently.
work on Quincy Shore Drive.
No.
Yeah.
That's-
That's
Yeah. So
unfortunate.
that's why we have different solutions for different spaces.
Sure.
Yeah.
Joe, how did you get involved initially with Quincycles?
Well, when Cycles was started, I saw a piece in the paper. The Reverend Peepo was looking to bring people together. I could not make that meeting, but I had a meeting with Nathan, and I decided to join and met other people, Irene and people. Our camera woman right there,
Yeah.
Maureen. Turn the camera on yourself, Maureen. And I liked the idea.
Yeah.
I was biking at that point for a couple of years because I was commuting from the Quincy shipyard. And when they put the price of parking up to $4 when I was already paying $8 for a boat ride, I decided I'd pull my bike out of the barn and try it. I hadn't been riding it for years. And it was in May, and I rode it, and I felt comfortable doing it.
Okay.
And then I said, I'll see how long I can do this throughout the year. And come December and 15 degrees, I'm still doing it.
Wow.
I don't go out on ice and snow.
Okay.
But we have a fabulous plowing in this city. So as soon as it's plowed, it's safe to ride on the streets.
Okay.
And so I bicycle mainly to get to my office in Boston. Or if I'm coming downtown here, I don't see the need to bring a car. I could get down with a car in maybe 12 minutes, and I get down on the bike in maybe 12 minutes.
Is that right?
Yeah, same thing on
Yeah.
the short distance.
Yeah. On a beautiful day like today, too, you get to enjoy the sunshine and the
That's right.
cooler temperatures.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you always get a space in front of the building.
It's true. There's a bike rack right out front.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you bike from Wollaston to Boston?
Yes.
Every day
Yep,
over the Neponset River Bridge.
that or the Granite Ave Bridge.
Okay. What is that like, Joe?
It's outdoorsy. Well, I take some things to protect myself.
Okay.
I have a bicycle mirror. I see what's coming behind me.
Yep.
I wear bright clothing.
Yep.
I've got a reflective vest I wear. I have lights. I have the lights on during the day.
Okay. So you're smart biking.
I try to, yeah. I've had some injuries. Most of my injuries have been self-inflicted, I'm pleased to say.
Huh. Okay.
And if you show respect to the automobiles, most of them will show respect to you.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't ride right on the curb. There's broken glass there. The cars will zip right by you.
Okay.
Take a couple of feet for safety, and if you have your mirror on, it's great to see the cars going around you.
Yes. Okay.
And they still get where they're going, and I get where I'm going. In time, I'd like to think that Morrissey Boulevard will have some bike lanes. In the meantime, it's the straightest route in.
Irene,
and
you
scenic.
have several events that's still coming up for the later this year. You'd like to
Yes,
talk
yeah,
about?
we do. We have a couple of destination rides. Joe's going to be leading a ride along the Battle Road out, starting at the Minuteman Visitor Center in Lincoln, and we're going to take everybody down to Rhode Island on the East Bay Trail.
Nice.
And then in November, this is my favorite event of the year, we do a bike-powered food drive, and this would be our third one, I think,
Wow.
third or fourth one, where we gather at Interfaith Social Services and we have a list of things that they need, and we take a bike ride and we all go shopping together.
that's great.
And bring them back. We try to go to 4 different stores as a challenge, so that we're not all just doing one trip out, but we're showing people how to get to all the different supermarkets in Quincy.
Yeah.
So that's great.
Cranksgiving.
Cranksgiving, yeah, it's a national event. Someone started it, maybe New York, I don't know, but
Yeah.
it's sort of spread from there. Different cities have their own Cranksgiving events. We try to gamify it a little bit.
When I first heard
Fun.
Cranksgiving, I thought it was like Festivus. You
Right,
get
right.
together and yell at each other. I didn't realize it's the bicycle
It's the
crank.
bicycle thing.
Yeah.
We got a
Quincycles.org.
very nice design from a high school student, I think.
Yeah,
Very
when
nice.
we first started.
Quincycles.org, or your meetings at City Hall the first Thursday of the month?
Third.
Third Thursday.
Third Thursday of the month.
Yep.
All right. Thank you both. Really appreciate
Thank
it.
you, Joe.
Thanks.
You're very welcome. Just enough time to recap the forecast for you for the rest of the day today. Kind of what you see is what you get. Sun and clouds, very comfortable, around 70 degrees. A little warmer tomorrow, much warmer on Wednesday. Summer returns.
Thanks.
And a nice day here on Thursday as well. Thanks again to Irene Lutz and Joe Hearn from Quincycles.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Thanks to our crew. Thank you for watching. Friday at 11:30, the new president of the Quincy Symphony Orchestra here on another edition of Currently in Quincy. We'll see you then.